As your scenes grow in complexity and your models have more polygons and more vertices contained with them, the traditional method of simply dragging to create selections can sometimes become a bit cumbersome. Fortunately, Modo has a couple of different tools that will allow you to more easily make selections on your items. So we're going to look here at a couple of different things that we can do to make selections on this model. So the first thing that we're going to do is look in the Lists tab, which is located in the lower right-hand corner in the same section where the Properties tab is. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Lists. We can see down in the bottom, we have sections for vertices, edges, and polygons. Now, right now we're in polygons, so let's look at polygon selection. And we see that we have a few different options here. We have by type, so if we have faces, which is just regular polygons, subdivisions, curves, or Beziers, a lot of different things here. You have these in here. You can actually select those items just by clicking the plus sign. So if I click plus, you can see I've selected subdivisions, which everything right now is a subdivision surface, so it selected everything. Now, likewise, I can deselect just by clicking the minus button. All right, so let's now move down. We can close up by type. We can also select by vertex. So in this model, the majority of the polygons are actually four-sided polygons or quads. But when we get up to the top and the bottom, there is a cap that is made out of triangles just to close the circle up there at the top. So you can see here, if we look by vertex, there are no polygons that have one or two vertices. Typically, if you see those, it's probably going to cause some issues. So this is another way that you can actually troubleshoot problematic models as you get more complex. But you can see that we have three-sided polygons. There are 48. So if I click on the plus sign, it will select the top and the bottom caps there that are just those sections of three-sided polygons. And then we can click the minus to deselect those. And then we can click on the plus by the four-sided or four-vertex polygons to select the remainder of the polygons. And you can see that we just don't have the top and the bottom with those triangles selected, but everything else is selected. So I'm going to leave that selected and fold up by vertex. We can see that you also have by part, and we don't have any parts in here right now, something we'll look at a bit later on when we start creating more complex hierarchies. But we also have by material. So let's open up material, and you can see that I have three separate materials on this object. I have the cap, the default, which is just going to be the white, and that's the color that was on the sphere when I created it, and the ring. And you can see that the ring is highlighted in white, and all of the 48 polygons are actually selected. So we have 48 polygons with the ring material, that's going to be the red material, and all 48 of those are selected. Now, with the default, we see that we have 144 polygons, but only 120 are selected, and that's because the bottom polygons here with three sides aren't selected, and they also have that material. Likewise, you can see that we have the cap material, which has 96 polygons. That's going to be the blue polygons up top, but only 72 are selected because there are a group of polygons at the top that are three-sided that weren't selected when we selected all of the four-sided objects. So with this in mind, we can also now use kind of a Boolean feature of adding and subtracting things based off of different selection criteria. So let's say I have all of these four-sided polygons selected and I want to make an edit, but I don't want to do anything to the polygons that have the ring material. So all I need to do now is just go over here and click the minus sign by ring, and it will deselect those while leaving all of the other polygons selected. Right, now, by the same token, I can click the minus sign by default, and now we're just left with the blue cap polygons minus the triangles at the very top. All right, so if we close up material, we'll see that there is another by selection set and by smoothing groups, and we don't have either of those actually turned on right now. We'll get into smoothing groups a bit later on when we look at shading, but for right now, let's take a look at by selection set, because we can create individual selection sets that will allow us to more quickly and easily make selections once we've already defined them. So let's say I've got this part here defined, and this is something I might want to work on later. So I'm going to create a selection set that has these polygons contained. All right, so let's go up to Select, Assign Selection Set, and now I can choose to add, remove, rename, or set these polygons to a selection set. So I'm going to call this top quads, okay, because this is just the four-sided polygons that are on the top of the object. And we'll click OK, and now it has created a new selection set, and we can see that now we have a drop-down arrow under by selection set. So now if I just click off an open space to deselect, I can just click the plus sign, and I've got all of those polygons selected again. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to make another selection here. And this is a pretty simple selection, but so it doesn't take me very long to just make it from scratch. But if you had a more complex selection, this could be really useful. I'm going to choose assign selection set, and I'm going to call this ring top. Okay. And just for kicks, I'm going to select the next loop up here that's on the blue section, and I'm going to assign a third selection set that we will call cap bottom. And we'll click OK. So now I actually have 3 different selection sets here within my object. I have the top quads. Let's deselect. I've got the ring top, which is just the red polygons, but the upper selection. And I have the bottom selection of the cap. So I can add any of these together. I can subtract out some by using the subtract commands. And this way I can more easily manage the selections that I need to work on while I'm modeling. This kind of thing will come into play very early on as we start modeling, because any of the modeling tools that we use, we'll want to use them on a specific selection or a different group of selections. So knowing how to manage your selections, create selection sets, and get to the polygons, vertices, and edges that you need quickly is a key part to having a good modeling workflow. Well, that does it for this one. Thanks, and I will see you in the next lesson.